Okay, so what we're talking about in this section is inscribed angles and polygons. So an inscribed angle is an angle that has a vertex on the circle. And so this angle I'll highlight is inscribed because it fits perfectly inside of the circle. And if you notice, that inscribed angle makes this arc. And so the rule is that the angle is half the measure of the arc. So angle equals 1/2 the arc. Okay? So again, the angle equals half the arc. That'll help you when you have to solve problems. Just remember that process. The next thing we have is an inscribed polygon. Inscribed polygon is when each vertex is on the circle. If you have an inscribed polygon that is a quadrilateral, opposite angles are supplementary. So I know that the measure of angle x plus the measure of angle z has to equal 180. So that means I could do 180 minus 69. And so I'm going to get 111, I believe. Let's just double check. Oops, I'll close my calculator. So 180 minus 69. Yep, 111. So that means the measure of angle x has to be 111. I don't know about these two angles, W and Y. I just know that they're opposite each other, so they have to add up to 180. But because I don't have any information on one of them, I can't say anything about either of them. They don't look to be equal. They could be equal. We just don't have enough information. But the big rule is just to remember that if you have an inscribed quadrilateral, opposite angles add up to 180. All right, so let's find some angle measurements. Again, I like to find all my measurements I can first before I go back and write everything here. So let's kind of draw on here and see what we have. So right here, let's start with the inscribed angle. This is my inscribed angle. Right here. And that inscribed angle makes this arc. And so I'll erase those yellow marks in a second. But what happens is, remember, inscribed angle, your angle is equal to half the arc. So if my angle is 28, it's equal to half times my arc, which I don't know. And so what I can do is I could just times by 2. And so that tells me that that arc is 56. So A to C is 56. So now I'm going to erase the yellow. Okay. Now I know that this over here, C to B, is 180 because it's a semicircle. Let's fix that 180. That was ugly. That one's not too pretty either. Over here, this also has to equal 180. So 180 minus 56 is 124. So A to B is 124. Okay. Let's see if that's enough information to fill in. So A to C is 56. We got that. B to C is 180. We got that. Okay, now we got some angles. BAC. All right. Let's highlight that. B to A to C. Well, a lot of times what I like to do with angles is I like to pass, especially inscribed angles, I like to pass where they go. And remember, that angle is equal to half of the arc. So that angle, so we're just going to call that angle A is equal to half of the arc, and the arc is 180. So that means angle A is half of 180, so angle A is 90. So angle A, BAC is 90. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if I can erase that yellow that I selected. Hold on. Okay, so now let's look at ACB. Let's do a different color. A to C to B, so that's that angle. There's a couple ways you could do this. I'd like to practice the angles half the arc again. And so that's angle C. Angle C is equal to half of the arc, and the arc made by that angle C is 124. So angle C should be 62. Some of you might have recognized, though, if I highlight one more color, this is a triangle, and the three angles in a triangle add up to 180. So you might have said, oh, this is 90 plus 28, and subtract from 180 to get 62. It doesn't matter which way you'll get it, you can get the same answer. Okay, let's go back here and see if we have enough information for these. A to B, we do have enough information. We already wrote it down as 124. Okay, last one we have is A to B to C. So if I'm going to do a star from this one, A to B to C. Now, I can, I'm sorry, it's so confusing. I can add up everything I pass. So 124 plus 180. Or I could do 360 minus what I don't want, which is right here. Either way, you're going to get 304. Okay. So there's a couple different ways to remember it. Remember, inscribed angle equals half of the arc. All right, let's go down here. Okay, so now we need to find some angles. And again, I'm going to highlight and then I'll erase. So angle A is right here. This is made up by this line and this line. And if you notice, that angle makes this arc. So angle A is equal to 1/2 of the arc, and the arc is 38. So angle A is 19. Okay. All right, let's see if I can lasso all that information together. And I can just hit delete. Okay, now let's go on to angle B. I'd like you to try the same thing on angle B. See if you could trace angle B and see what the intersected arc is, and then see what happens. And when you think you have it, press play. Okay, so angle B is right here. And again, I go past it because then it makes the arc easy to see. So angle B is equal to 1/2 the arc, and the arc that it makes is 38. So angle B is also 19. Okay, why don't you try C and D, same process, see what the angle is, and then see how it relates to an arc that you see on there. Okay, so you should have recognized angle C is right here, and it makes this arc here. So C is equal to 1/2 of 82. So it's 41. And then D, I'm going to just use green. Here's D. Wow, what did I do? Hold on. My computer messed up. Let's try that again. D, look, it makes the same arc. So D is also 1/2 of 82. So D is 41. Okay? So remember, your inscribed angle is half of the arc. All right, now last problem. Let's see if you can solve for M and N. Remember, the rule for inscribed polygons is that opposite angles are supplementary. So go ahead and try it and then come back when you think you have it. Okay, so you should have said M plus 65 is 180 because those are opposite. And then N plus 100 is 180 because those are also opposite. So to get rid of a plus 65, you're going to minus 65. So M is 115. And then for the next one, to get rid of a plus 100, you minus 100. So N is 80. Okay, so those are the basic rules to remember. I think the one that's going to be trickiest is this inscribed. But remember, just cover it up or trace it and see what arc it is. And remember, the angle equals half of the arc.